Derbyshire were made to follow on the last day of their LV County Championship match with Yorkshire in Leeds, but Usman Khawaja prevented the home side from taking this crucial game to keep his side clear at the top of the second division table from these opponents at any rate. Derbyshire resumed on the final morning on 233 for 8, needing 38 more runs to avoid the follow-on and thus save the game at the start of the day. They made an encouraging beginning as Andrew Gale, perhaps surprisingly, didn't take the second new ball, which was due. Tim Grunewald added to the increasing tension by hitting the two spinners for fours and then striking Azim Rafiq over the top of long on for a six. So just 12 were wanted when Gale took the new cherry. With the third ball, David Wainwright, the former Yorkshire player, tucked Ryan Sidebottom off his hip to bring up his 50, but then he inexplicably turned for a second run and was beaten by Stephen Patterson's accurate throw. Wainwright must have been praying that the last pair could now get their side over the safety line. Number 11 Mark Turner hit two of the last three balls of the over to the boundary. Now only 3 runs were required to make Yorkshire bat again next. But Tim Bresnan then had Grunewald caught behind, giving Yorkshire debutant Andrew Hodd his 5th catch, as Derbyshire were dismissed for 268 to trail on first innings by 152. So out they came again, their aim to see out the hour and a half before lunch. Instead, in the 4th over, Wayne Madsen guided a ball from Bresnan to Azim Rafiq. Then, in his next over, Bresnan found some movement to bowl Matt Lineker, who clearly chose the wrong delivery to leave alone. That left Derbyshire on 18 for 2, 134 runs adrift with an hour to go until the break. More wickets now, and Yorkshire would have been in a position to win a game which would have put them within touching distance of top spot. Wes Durston was the man that the home side would dearly have loved to see the back of early on. But he and Khawaja got through to the break unscathed to increase their side's chances of getting the draw that would be so important to them. Over the years, Derbyshire have not been used to leading the way and being the side to catch, so the afternoon was always going to be a test of their temperament. For the most part, they coped very well with this pair of Durston and Khawaja mixing a solid defence with some attractive shots, mindful that runs could play a part later in the day in using up valuable time. They saw out 30 overs in adding 90 runs to take the deficit to just 44. So the game was just starting to drift away from the home side, but then Patterson had Durston leg before for 39 to end his 2-hour stay. 3 overs later, for the second time in the match, Sidebottom had Dan Redfern caught behind, and now the Tykes were feeling confident again. Khawaja was now joined by Ross Whiteley, who, for the second time in 2 days, kept his attacking instincts in check as these two blocked their way to tea. Khawaja had already passed his 50 by this stage, and how his county was thankful to the Australian selection panel who'd allowed him to remain playing in the championship rather than being asked to perform with the Australian A side against the Lions. This innings, under some pressure at the start, was a very good and very significant one. He'd played and missed a few times against the new ball in the morning, but now with his eye well set, he looked like the classy player he undoubtedly is. He has, after all, played in 6 test matches for his country. With Whiteley building a brick wall in front of his stumps at the other end, the match was now slipping away from the hosts. And with the tension lifted, Khawaja lifted Rashid over long on and started celebrating his ton before the ball had even crossed the rope. It was the 10th 100 of his career and his second for Derbyshire, and it had taken the 25-year-old 189 balls to get there. By the time that Whiteley drove Azim Rafiq to Gale to end a near 2-hour innings on 17, the game was just about up. And Khawaja celebrated that by driving Azim Rafiq back over his head for his second maximum to end the day unbeaten on 110. The two sides shook hands with Derbyshire on 190 for 5, leading by 38 with 14 overs still possible. That means that Derbyshire still lead their opponents by 21 points in the table and they have a game in hand. But neither of these teams will have been too pleased with Hampshire's late win against Northamptonshire.